just don't know. There's always something. So thank you all for being here. My name is, see if that one's going to work. Nope. 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 So we're just going to go like this. Oh, there it was. I don't know. My name is Anthony Barocas. I am the Chief Gearhead here at StreamTek. And today I am producing today's show on the YOLOBox Ultra because I'm going to be showing my daily driver. Let's see if we can do this. Two-shot, 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 two-shot. No, it's just not going to work. Two-shot. And I am going to be doing my daily driver, which is the Magewell Director Mini, is going to be the feature guest in the show. So in order for that to happen, I have to swap out what I am producing the show on. So I'm producing the show on the YOLOBox Ultra today. And I've kind of tried to recreate certain things the way I have them in the Director Mini. But certain things are, I don't know, for whatever reason, not working. Like, let's see if I switch back to me. Maybe I'm not hitting it hard enough. Switch back to me. See, I don't know. It's on. It's indicating that that's the camera input. But when I try to change the camera, it's not working. If I change to the two-shot, see, now it changes to the two-shot. So it's connected, but it's just, I don't know. YOLOdeck not happy today for whatever reason. Sometimes it works, like before the show, I was tapping different things. I was tapping my title. But right now, YOLOdeck is not complying with the show. So I'm going to have to be tapping the screen. Oh, well. Kind of defeats the purpose of having a YOLOdeck, though. Anyway, that also means the comments are coming through the, let's start the show on Instagram. Comments are coming through the YOLOBox. So I am actually producing the show through the YOLOBox, and I'm not using Restream for the comments. So if you are on LinkedIn, you're getting an RTMP feed. So if you're watching on LinkedIn, you have to go to the YouTube or Facebook show in order to comment and have it come into the show. And we're not going to Twitch today. That's just the way it is. Because I can do 3 output multicast from the YOLOBox itself. And I decided, hey, let's revisit the YOLOBox because I haven't used the YOLOBox for doing a live show in probably a year. Yeah, probably a whole year. So, hey, you know, there's been a lot of updates to the YOLOBox. And it also begs the question, like the YOLOBox has internal streaming, and today's show is all about Speedify bonding streaming. There's Speedify bonding, which is a standalone streaming or bonding service, which can be used for streaming. And it also has a whole lot of other useful uses as well. And I'll just be upfront. Speedify is not paying for the show. This is not a sponsored show. They have no control over what I say. And because they are not sponsoring the show, I'm also going to be talking about YOLO Lives bonding as well. They do, however, have a 30-day test. 30-day, you can test it for 30 days. So that is what I'm using right now. So I'm not actually paying for it for these 30 days to do this show about Speedify, but then again, they are not paying for it either. So just to be clear where this comes from. So if it sounds like an ad for Speedify, it's actually not. I would love for them to sponsor the show. So Speedify, if you're watching, sponsors are welcome. But right now, not sponsored by Speedify. Let us go through our comments, and this is going to be a little bit different because, like I said, I'm actually on the YOLOBox Ultra, which instead of being able to see like 10 different comments at a time, right now I'm looking at a comment and a half. So I have to do a lot more scrolling around. Let's see who all is watching and where, and as I always say, tap once, tap what, there it is. I always love to know where everybody is watching from. Yet, let me just move the YOLOdeck out of the way since it's there's no point in having temptation to tap on this thing because it's just totally ignoring me. There we go. Mind is clear. I was said, tap again. Apparently the comments, I have to tap twice for whatever reason. Just another oddity going on today. Where is everyone watching from? So if you haven't already chimed in, tell me where you're watching from. Love to know that. You can see by the design of the comments, these are not the Restream comments. There's no Restream involved in today's show. And tap again. What streaming questions do you have? One of the advantages of the comments on the YOLO box is I don't have to touch it after so many seconds. On the Pro, it fades off. On the Ultra, it just pops off. Hopefully they can update the Ultra with comments that fade off because they fade on, but they don't fade off. Mike Sabatini says, hello from Africa, LaSalle, Illinois. Well, actually, I think the Northeast is hotter right now than Texas is, which is saying something because we're only going up to the mid-90s here in Texas. PVE says, Seal Beach, California, the Come As You Are, part of the Osee. And Kent says, hello from Madison, Ohio. One of the drawbacks I'm finding is I like seeing on Restream, I like seeing how many people are connected. And I guess it gets that data back from the API, which I don't have now. That would be something that YOLO and everybody could offer on their devices because if Restream can get that data back, then anybody can get that data back. And it'd be really cool to know how many people are watching because normally I'm used to seeing like a little number in the corner of my screen there. Oh, Bowls Promo TV. Oh, wow. You know what? I'm going to have to move the title. Give me a sec. I'm going to have to move the title a little bit just to get all that in there. There we go. Whoops. Come on. There we go. Looking for this. I have the Magewell Director Mini, which is what we're using in today's show. I use the Netgear M6 for data. Oh, went away already. I have the iPhone 12 Pro Max with data, Vodafone, and I am doing that as well. I have actually set up my phone with USB tethering. So I'm actually going to be bonding 3 sources here. And an iPad with a data chip, also Vodafone. Continue along. And in some cases, the venue will have an Ethernet port I can connect to my hub. Happy if everything goes through the Netgear. It's like 300 gig, just peace of mind. Well, I mean, personally, I would be happy to send it if the facility, if the house is going to give you an Ethernet connection, I'd be happy to use that and not have to use my cellular. Because if you're using the Netgear and you're using cellular and there's going to be 500 people in the room, they're also using cellular, and you'd be competing with them to reach the nearest tower. So if somebody can give me a landline or a physical cable, that for me would be preferred, unless the Ethernet cable that's provided is shared with whatever bandwidth they're providing for the vendors who are renting the space. Like if, oh, okay, so we're going to set up, they've got a good IT manager and they say, okay, so this event, let's just say StreamTek is renting out this venue and they get 100 megabits. We're going to give them 100 megabits up and down. And they also purchased Wi-Fi. So we're going to make that available. StreamTek is going to have data available for Wi-Fi for the guests, but it's also coming out of that 100 megabits, so that if everybody's trying to do their own little streaming and their own upload and pictures and stuff like that, they're chipping away at that 100. And unless they establish quality of service, or QoS, quality of service, to this for my Ethernet, I always have 20. I always absolutely 20 is always guaranteed for me. Then I can do a 10 megabit stream comfortably, because I know I should always have 20. If I don't have that quality of service, then it's going to vary, and I'm just scared. But the cellular is not going to help you any more than that. I'm sending the Facebook, YouTube using the 2 different outputs decoders, if that's relevant. Not really. Higher for because and this is a key element for bonding, is that the YOLO box can send 1 stream to YOLO's servers. They get split to 3 in the cloud. So you're only sending 1, and then out here, it goes to 3. The Director 1 and the Director Mini, same operating system, and the OBSBot Talent, which I don't think does bonding, but you can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. They have two encoders. Cool. But those two encoders send separately. So if you want to send to Facebook and YouTube, you are sending two different streams. So if I'm sending, like right now, I'm sending at 4 megabits. I'm sending a single 4 megabit stream that's going to 3 places. But if I want to send from the director series a 4 megabit stream to Facebook, that's also a 4 megabit stream to YouTube. So it's 8 megabits that I'm sending, increasing your data need and making bonding, making the need for more resilient bonding even more important. So yes, that's actually very important. Let me tap it again. This is actually very important when talking about the director, because the director does not do multicasting built in. You have to do that, or you can send like one stream to Restream or Caster or some other service that will then take that one stream and split it out to however many you want. This should be interesting, as Speedify has never been stable for me over here in the UK. They do have different servers, and we'll kind of cover that when we go through the interface on the Director Mini. So you can try different servers, and then also there's another tier of service where if you're doing a lot of streaming, you can purchase a dedicated server. So you're always going to this one machine as opposed to sharing a machine with somebody else. So that's also very important. For most people, casual users who want bonding, and they have this cool thing where like 3 different people in a car can share Speedify and have different cell services, although if you have a family, they're probably all on the same plan. But then that data is also shared between phones. So if my T-Mobile phone is getting really not great signal while we're going through a drive, but the Verizon signal is, then my phone is actually going to connect to both of those and lean on the Verizon of the other phone through my phone through shared Wi-Fi. It's kind of interesting. And always, tap it twice, feel free to throw in whatever questions you have. They don't have to be related to Speedify, but that's what today's topic is. But throw in whatever questions you want into the comments. Are there recommendations on data plans to use with Speedify versus using a live view bonding plan, unlimited $300 a month? That's math. It just comes down to math. I can't recommend for you a plan without knowing how much data you stream every month. You have to do the math. And I do this long at this data rate, this many times, give or take. That's the plan you need. So you purchase based on what you need. Oh, wow. Pokot Zoltan is saying hello from Romania, and RP Digital Uti is saying hello from India. Hello to you as well. I don't see any other questions coming in. So again, feel free to throw them in at any time. The YOLO will let me know when I'm missing stuff. It'll give me a little red arrow saying, look down there. And I will continue along with this. So Speedify, for those who don't know, is a standalone service. It's not tied to any device. It's not tied to any provider. LiveView makes their own hardware. Speedify does not. But Speedify is now kind of partnered with this new product called Miri, but it can be used with everything else as well. I have used Speedify in the past with an iPad when I was doing a lot of work with Switcher Studio, and Speedify would allow me to have both a wired and a wireless connection, see my cameras, even though I'm bonding those connections and sending them out. RP Digital Systems asks, can I install Speedify on the YOLO Box Extreme? Very good question. And I don't actually know, because there has been a tutorial in the past that you can find on YouTube, and YOLO has even promoted it in the group, that tells you how to install Speedify on the Pro. Does the same process work on the Extreme? I don't know. So I can't speak to it because I have not tested it. But also know that YOLO has their own integrated bonding service. So you could try to do a workaround for which there is no support, or you could use the one that's already built in and has a tab in the interface. And for that, I think that's, let's see if it's this one. No, that's this. So that'd be this one. Nope. Trying to figure out which cable it's on. Not that one. Yeah, it should be this one. I don't know why I'm not seeing it. I've got an Extreme here, and I'm trying to bring it up in the switcher, but it's just not coming up. It's going to be one of those days, isn't it? All right, so I'll just drag it over. So we go to the two-shot. So here you can see the Extreme, and right here it has network bonding. Let me make this a little brighter. Go away. So it has network bonding built in. You can get an annual plan for 20 gigabytes a month for $300 a year. So I don't know, 20 gigabytes, $299, $300 divided by 12 months. And you could, oops, go away. You can also purchase just as needed per month. You can get that same 20 gigabytes for $30. So it's almost like you get 2 months free, because that would be 10 months. So you get 11, 12 for free for $300. And it just becomes part of the device, and it's always down here in the tab where you can see how much is going on and your bonded devices. I can't demonstrate it because I don't have a bonding plan with YOLO. I have no connection with YOLO Live at this time, so it's not gifted to me or anything like that. So that's what's going on there. I did set that up ahead of time, but it just doesn't want to show up in my mixer for whatever. It should be right there. Nope. Oh, there it is. Ha-ha. Wrong button. It's not the phone, it's the laptop. So yeah, over there on the right, you can see that's where you would set it up. And just because it is one of the tabs, it's always available there for you to turn on or turn off. Not every gig needs it. So you can turn it off as needed, turn it on as needed, and it's super easy to use, as opposed to if you were to install it in a roundabout sort of way, then you kind of have to like exit, go into this other thing, turn it on, and then come back over here. And there's other caveats, which I'll get to in a minute, which also apply to this, I should say. There are issues when you do bonding, and let me go here and say that. There are issues when you do bonding and you're also trying to use the local area network for networked cameras. So the balance is, and I'm working on this with Speedify at the moment, I'm actually texting with them, is that if you take all of your internet connections and hand them off to this software, which does all of this bonding and everything, connection stuff, then it's not available to the device to get the camera feeds, like with NDI. If you're not giving it off to this device, then, or this software package, then the device has access to your Ethernet network or your Wi-Fi or whatever to be able to like accept the camera feed while also sending out the stream on that same local area network. So if you activate bonding, the YOLO Live bonding, then you can't see your NDI cameras so far. There are ways around it. And I will say I have used Speedify on my PC and also seen my local area network cameras, NDI cameras. So it is possible. And in doing this, setting up the demonstration for today, because I don't just do these spur of the moment, and setting up the demonstration for today, let's go to my overhead, I have this one, and in here, in your settings, there's a special, the latest version has a special section just for Speedify. So in here, I have my Android phone, my Samsung phone is connected via USB on the side. My wireless LAN is hooked up to one network, and my Ethernet is hooked up to another network. So I get three networks, three different networks. And I tried turning my Ethernet off so that I could, priority never. You can set your priority. In here, you can set what you want it to use first. Ethernet first. Like if the house is providing you tons of bandwidth, you can say Ethernet priority. And then cellular is secondary. Don't use the cellular unless you have to, kind of thing. You know, And then you can set one as a backup. Like this other thing that I have to pay by the minute, yeah, use that last. You know, so you can set those up. So I'm just going to set this on auto, and then I'll come out and you'll see all of these are green now. So my network bonding is on Speedify. And you know, like I said, this account was provided by Speedify for the 30 days for testing, which is available to anybody who goes to speedify.com. I think it's 14 days. I don't know how I got 30 days. I'm not going to get into that. There's that settings. If you hit the little gear icon, there's a bonding mode, you know, to enhance streaming. Whether you enhance streaming, make sure that you have a good resilient connection. It's not about making it faster. If you just want maximum speed, that just means give me everything that I can. Or redundant means you make sure that you've got a primary and a secondary, and the data will always get through. That'll probably be the slowest. And enhanced streaming is probably a balance of the two. The server, you can see up here. Somebody was asking that. What about? It's not working for me. Great in the EU. Have you picked a server? Have you tried different servers? Because different servers may not be as reliable for wherever you might be. So test, 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 as I always say. So this one says fastest server. So it does a quick check and picks one. I can say the closest server, the closest dedicated server. I don't have a dedicated server, so that's not really going to apply to me. Closest public server. That one is going to be, because I'm not paying the extra amount for a dedicated server, so I get what I'm sharing a computer with other people. And then you can see UAE, Austria, Australia, Belgium, Bulgaria, Brazil, Canada, Switzerland. It sounds like I'm doing the song with the different countries. Da 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 da. If you've ever heard that. Greece, Hungary, Indonesia, Ireland, Italy. So let's just say you are in the EU and you want to go to France. Let's click on France. There's a little arrow making me think that I could lower that, or Great Britain, or Greece, or Hungary, Ireland. You know, if you were in the EU, I would not necessarily pick the Japan server. Just saying. So I'm just going to put it back up here on the fastest server. So that is a key setting that you should look at if you are not experiencing the best bonding service with letting it pick the server. Maybe you need to go in and pick a different server that maybe there's just a better path to. Pair and share is this little thing where you can have multiple devices. You all sort of connect and you share your internet among devices. Encryption is on. We don't really need encryption for video. Our job is just to get the video out. So maybe turning encryption off will make things work a little bit better in terms of streaming and resiliency in whatever market you might be in as well. There's a speed test right here. I'm not going to do that. And generate logs. I'm actually generating logs because I'm trying to figure out the bonding issue. But maybe if I turn encryption off, that'll fix it. We'll see. Now, coming back over here, I have two cameras connected over here, 1 and 2. You can see on the right here. I have two video feeds down here. I have my chalkboard background that you see right here. Ignore the lines going up. That's just a function of the way the screen refreshes. So this is just, it's not streaming now. I'm going to add my NDI stream and I'm going to do a search. It's going to see I've got a Mevo start right here. That's live. And there it is right at the top, the Mevo. I'm going to select the Mevo and now it has a signal. Okay, so there we go. This is what I could not get it to do before. But you can see it is a little jumpy, at very even intervals. Save. I'm going to bring that up and see if that helps things a little bit. Nope. I would say that that is not usable. I would not want to use that in the least. Now this is NDI HX. I also have, let's come over here and add another one, just because we're just going to keep throwing things on top of things. I also have a vMix machine on the local network, hardwired. This one's wireless. I have a vMix machine hardwired, so we're going to take output 1. And that looks to be working a little bit, although it's me talking. So let me cancel that one. Let's go to a different one. NDI search, see what's available, and output 2. There's the picture. Save. And this is NDI HX coming from the vMix machine on the other side of the room. And this actually looks smooth. So, unfortunately, I got two different variables here. The fact that it's on a wire and the fact that it is full NDI versus HX. And you're going to see full NDI work on the director. Full NDI does not work on the OBSBot talent, only HX. So this seems to be playing just fine, nice and smoothly. There's just lots of cuts in the video. And this one over here, you can see that as I move it around, it definitely has a nice regular cadence to it. And now that's with Speedify on. We're going to come over here, go to Speedify. Let me turn, oh, that's what Speedify is off. Okay. Let me turn Speedify on. Thinking, thinking, thinking. Now, all of these are being bonded. Come out, click on this. That is still working. And this, the HX, not working at all. Well, it's working even worse. So you can see that, I don't know, the Speedify, the bonding is affecting how the HX signal is coming into here. However, if I click on the wired feed, the NDI the full NDI coming from a wire from another computer is not affected at all. So there could be something with regards to HX. It could be something with regards to it being wireless. Shouldn't be though, but I can't rule that out. But you can see those two, this one definitely is not happy. If I come over here and I click on it, you can see as I move, it is not doing anything anywhere near as quick as it was doing when I turned Speedify on. So now let's go in, settings, Speedify, turn it off, out, out. And now you can see big difference, big difference. I still have apparently some issue coming from this camera with regards to just a regular bump. And I can go into the camera settings and see if I can fix that. But that is one of the key things to be aware of, is that with bonding, there may be issues with regards to local area network NDI connectivity, as demonstrated by the HX camera and by many people I've seen in the YOLO group talking about, oh, I added bonding, but then I couldn't see my NDI camera. So I have the camera here. I can come in, I can go into my settings. I can come down here to NDI mode. I can turn it off for a second. It's applying the changes. I come in here. Let me try setting it to, I'm not going to do HEVC, but I will drop it from 15 down to 5. See if that helps. And then I'll turn NDI back on. Sorry, that's a little bright. There we go. Go away, go away. And I will turn NDI mode back on. It's applying the changes. So now the Mevo Cam is sharing again via NDI, and nope, I have the exact same cadence no matter what the data rate is. So it's not a data rate issue. Some comments are coming in. Try connecting a wireless mouse to the YOLO box to mitigate the frustration. A wireless mouse. Oh, okay. I could do. Well, I don't have one here. I have a wired mouse, but it's connected to the computer. But yeah, that could help. But you know what? The YOLO deck should just work. That's my thoughts. Any thoughts on the prepaid data you can get at Walmart and other stores? Well, Walmart is not a cell company. So they're an NVMO, National Virtual Mobile Operator. Basically, it means they put their own stamp on somebody else's service. So Consumer Cellular, Walmart, Boost, Virgin, Mint, all those companies, all they are is branding. There's in America, there's only T-Mobile, Verizon, and AT&T. That's it. There used to be Sprint, but they're gone now. There's only 3 companies selling cell service in America that actually make the towers and like actual do the hardware. 3 companies. Everybody else is fake. They're just rebranding this. So if you can get a better price, cool. And prepaid is usually a better price, but you're still using one of these 3 services. The difference is it's cheaper because you're accepting a lower priority. And you'll find that if you use T-Mobile is also Metro. Used to be Metro PCS, then they became Metro by T-Mobile because T-Mobile now bought them, but they're still separate. So they're the prepaid version of T-Mobile. And when you get to the fine print of your data may be limited based on priority. Your prepay is not as high priority as people who have a contract. That's just the way it is. And then there's a whole tier above that called FirstNet. So fire departments, police, and things like that, they get first priority to whatever data is available. Then it's the people who paid, like, I have an older plan on T-Mobile, I have next priority. Then there's third priority, it's a cheaper like family plans, and then there's the prepaid. So you're way down there. And then if you're at an event and there's 1,000 or 5,000 people there, that priority is going to come into play. So if you're buying the lowest tier through a third party and you go to an event, you're last in line for data. After everybody else, whatever capacity is left, that's what you get access to. That's how that works. No need to use NDI if you need to bond all the signal that you can get. Actually, it does 2 completely different purposes. NDI allows you to use multiple cameras on the network just by running an Ethernet cable. So you can control them, you can do tally, you get the video feedback on certain cameras, the new Bird Dog cameras. You can actually send program back out to the camera and have it appear on the monitors with that one cable. That one cable is everything. Power, it is data, it is video feed from, it is video feed to, it is the tally, it is the controlling, all of that. So NDI is really cool. I am all in on NDI and have been. I didn't even know this was going to come up. I'm all in on NDI and have been since I wrote this article back in 2020. So 5 years, all in on NDI. And if you want to go look at it, just look for all in on NDI and my name, and that will bring that article up. And then if you need to bond, tap it twice, if you need to bond all the signal you can get, those are other connections out to the internet that really doesn't have anything to do with your local area network. So there's 2 completely different things. I got my local area network to all my cameras and anything going on here, and then I've got my connections to the web. So 2 completely different things. Bonding only does this, but it can affect this. Because if your device doesn't understand how to create this little bit of sharing in between, if it says all of my network is only going to look this way, but the cameras are there, then you've got a problem. If you've got a networking tool like Speedify that can clearly, with the data coming over the network, can clearly do bonding, but also still include your local, see your local cameras. It's not closing off your networking from local. That's where that really pays off. Glenn jumps in to continue the talk. I've used a Great Britain server a few times, even upgraded my subscription, but it's still not stable. So I use a live view or Bondix, which has been very stable for me. Yes, and the difference in cost between Speedify and a live view yearly contract is, not minuscule. Although I don't know what the cost of a dedicated server is, so you can throw that in the comments too for others who might be watching. And so if you are looking on the web, and if you went over, I can't touch that one. I was about to touch the remote that I use with my Director Mini. Here we go. If you go to Speedify, They talk about the different features they have, that they have different levels. So one of the things is they have routers. So this is a key thing too. Whereas the YOLO box version of bonding is in the YOLO box. There is no other version. Speedify actually has router bonding, and you can install Speedify on routers. So it's outside of your device. And then technically all of your data is bonded. And this is a really, really, powerful thing, because when you think about it, if I'm doing a live show, I'm going to be sending video out, like with a live view. I take my HDMI, bond my video, it goes to the web. But now there's an issue with YouTube. I need to get onto YouTube, log in, get to the creator end of it and fix something. But if I don't have a reliable internet connection, I can't do that. It would be cool if I could use that bonded internet connection that LiveView is using to also whip out my laptop and start typing away. And that's where using a router, having a bonded router means now, yes, I'm sending my bonded video out, but my laptop that is also checking the stats, answering questions, deleting bad comments and things like that, that also has the same resiliency in the connection. And that is really, really handy. So being able to put the bonding in a router, or with Speedify, you're not limited to one device. I'm limited. Actually, I have my account open here. It says right here, I have 3 of 6 devices. So I could have a laptop also sharing the wireless connection to this, to that. And that way, these 2 devices through 2 different Speedify connections are able to do bonding separately, but they're both able to use all that possible connectivity, as opposed to embedding it into a LiveView or some other device, a Resi device or something like that. Okay, this device can reliably get my video to the internet, but I can't reliably manage it. And that's a problem to me. I feel that's a problem. And then if you come down here, if you have it on a mobile device, they show you how that works. And then at the bottom here, this is what I was talking about earlier. They have a partnership with this other company called Miri. This is a hardware device. It's actually built by Magewell. So it's got a good AV company behind it in terms of hardware. And this will bond multiple cellular, Ethernet. It's got built-in SIMs. It's got a USB port so you can add other things. And then it'll bond all of that. It's got a front panel interface that you can do all the management as well as through the web. It's got 2 batteries on top as well as DC power in the back. So this is actually a really cool thing. And again, like I was saying, the key is that you're bonding the router. And that way, all your devices in your network are able to rely on that resilient connection. Yes, your video can go through. Your video has a more reliable 5-prong connection to the internet, but so does my laptop, so does my client's laptop. So, we're able to do that as well. Now, I don't know if the Miri bonding router also enables you to do quality of service allocation, like, hey, my video device always gets 50%. It always gets this. I don't care what the laptops get, but this has to go through, and then whatever is left, they can, it's going to be bonded. They're more reliable than trying to do it with their cell phone by itself, but it doesn't impinge upon the mission critical getting the video out through the live stream. So that's really cool in terms of that. And and then that's the end of that one. And like I says, YOLO Live has network bonding here as well. Again, offering the same capability, but like I says, it is built into the unit, so it's convenient. The pricing is pretty standard, but it's built into that device. It's not usable anywhere else. Whereas Speedify is this standalone service that's not tied to a particular piece of hardware. So while I'm using it in the director right now, and my director is pretty toasty right now too. While I'm using it in here, it's just one of the devices I can use it in. I can set it up on my desktop machine. I can set it up on my phone. I can set it up in multiple places and utilize it more places. Now, I will say that the router license is different. It's not like you sign up for the cheapest individual plan and you get to use it everywhere. That's not how it works. Just like if you come over to my account here, it says up here, I have an add-on that I can add a dedicated server, but that's not included. So it's, you know, you can get in, but there's, you know, higher levels of service that you can pay for as well. And I guess I could come in here and rename these things. So it says, here's my phone, which has it installed. And then there's these other two devices. Obviously, one of them is going to be the Director Mini that I have set it up on right here as well. And people have reported, you know, as we saw in the comments, got to tap it twice today. I don't know why. Glenn has had not the greatest success with Speedify. So these systems, including YOLO Lives and include anybody's, is something that you need to test. You need to test in your location. And I also say, if you're going to be at an event facility, you know, it's like, oh yeah, well, I'm going to be at this stadium for this, you know, graduation. There's going to be 10,000 kids graduating and all their families, and we're just going to use cellular bonding. There's going to be 10,000 kids there and all their families. And so while you get there when the stadium's empty and you're like, oh my God, I got great signal. I did a speed test. It's phenomenal. This is going to be great. When you fill the stadium with people and you are only relying on cellular, you are fighting with everybody else for the same cellular connection. Unless you've got a FirstNet SIM or something like that that prioritizes you over everybody else, you're going to be down here with common people, and you're going to be fighting for the same amount of data after everything else. So that is something to be wary of, is to test, test, test. If you've watched this show, you'll see me say that a lot. You need to test, test, and then maybe test some more, no matter what the solution is. And then after you've tested it, after you've used it and validated it, then you can really come to rely on it, and testing will reveal where you have challenges. Like Glenn says, he has challenges in his locations that he can't seem to get a reliable connection to a server. So I don't know if encryption might help, or picking a different country server might help. Either of those might help, or connectivity to the local towers. Now, of course, he's probably using the same SIM cards for cellular data in between his Speedify and his LiveView, but LiveView has other tricks too. Speedify just bonds data. It doesn't care about what that data is. It can't tell your encoder, your video encoder, it can't tell your video encoder, oh my goodness, we're really running low because there's not enough cellular traffic. You need to lower the data rate. It can't do that. Speedify just connects a bunch of cables together. That's all it does. Whereas LiveView is a whole technology, because you're using a LiveView unit on the sending end, and there's using a LiveView server on the receiving end to debond the signal that you're bonding. I made up that word, but it makes sense. So the sender takes the signal and sends it out a bunch of different ways, and all those packets fly their different individual paths, and they arrive at the receiver that debonds and puts those packets back in the correct order, because they arrive just slightly out of order, different paths, different timings, and then sends it on to the next destination. So the debonding server is part of that package. And LiveView has a special sauce whereby the debonding server can say, you know what, I'm not getting all the packets, and it'll send a message back to the encoder, drop the data rate down, and it'll do that. So now it's getting all the things. If it's still not getting all the packets, it'll say, well, switch from 1080 to 720, you know, and it'll keep, to make sure it gets through, it'll keep trying different things. That's not going to happen with Speedify. That's not going to happen with data only. They don't know about what's outside their purview, whereas LiveView, both of those things they can control. So that is something that really makes services like that worth their weight, because they do one thing. I bond video from here to here. That's all I do. And it does it really well. Speedify does a lot of things. But that means it doesn't bond video from here to here as well as a live view. And understandably so. Speedify is a more general use bonding connectivity type of solution. And as such, it can be used for video streaming. And it also provides those other benefits that I talked about too. It provides the benefit that, oh, I can use it on my laptop next to me. I can put it into a router and share it across all my devices. Or if I'm using a TriCaster where they say don't install other software on the TriCaster, just let it do video, then I can install it on the router that the TriCaster is connected to. And in the router, I've got the house internet, I've got Wi-Fi to my hotspot, I've got USB to my cell phone, I've got 3 different connections, just like I've got right here on the Director Mini. And that way I can sort of have that additional resiliency that's not taking CPU cycles from my live switching server. So again, throw comments in the throw questions into the comments. I can speak today. Been doing a lot of talking. Tap it twice. I don't know why I got to tap them twice. What streaming questions do you have? So throw them in there if you got any more questions. And if you are late to the game, feel free. I don't know why I got to touch them twice. Where is it? That was quick. Where's everyone watching from? That one came out and went away real quick. Let's take another look at the settings for Speedify right here. So like I said, you can turn it on and off. It's giving me an account, and on the latest version of the Director, you can actually, let's just say, let's see if I can set up a streaming destination here. I'm going to settings, stream, let's go to Twitch, okay? And we are going to start streaming. I think it's going to ask me, I'll say connect to Twitch, and it'll just start pushing to Twitch. I really don't, nobody watches me on Twitch, so it doesn't matter. I don't think I've ever had one comment from Twitch that wasn't me. So I've got this thing going out, I'm streaming, and I can pull down from the top in the center, it shows me my connections. I can pull down from the left, it shows me my connections, and you can see right here, 4 megabit stream going out, multi-view, and network bonding is disconnected. So you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna turn it on. Now across the bottom here, in the newest version of the Direct, you see it took a dip right there because it had to cut off the 1 in order to create the 3. And you can see I've got cellular, I've got local Wi-Fi, and I've got Ethernet. I don't have Bluetooth, and I'm not creating a hotspot. But now, if I connect over here, it should jump back up. There it goes. In other words, don't try to throw bonding on while you're in the middle of a show. You know what? Let me redo that. Turn that off. Disconnect. Stop. Bonding is on now, right? Pull down from the right. Bonding is on. I'm not sending anything. Now let's start a stream. Connect. And we'll go to this one, because this is moving video. So this is a show that I did at the Texas Production Expo. This is the actual show pulled down from YouTube so that I have a copy of the delivered show. And we're doing an interview there, and this was actually switched on the YOLOBox Ultra on location. And I did that because I had someone else sitting next to me, Kirk from the Dallas area. He's sitting just off to the right there, and he's switching with me. So we're both able to switch this show at the same time. So let's pull down from the right here, and you will see there is my data rate. And you'll see I've got a blue and a yellow. There's my up and my down. So my up is 4.8 megabits. And if I go into settings, Speedify, you will see that it's actually giving me the data rate of each of these things. It's mostly, looks like it's spreading it across, but mostly leaning on the wireless LAN, even more so than the Ethernet, which is kind of interesting. But you see these numbers change as it's balancing across those 3. I'm surprised it's using the cellular off my phone as much as it is. So 1.2, 1.1, 1.8. And when I do it on the phone, it actually gives me different colors. Let me close this. It actually gives me different colors for the different connections so that I can see how much of each of the three are being used. Here it's just giving me a total. And let's see if I click on the eyeball. Oh, don't look at that. Yeah, I do want to look at that. I don't want to look at that. And that'll take me right to the settings. So here, I guess maybe in an update, they will update that display to make it look more like, if I go over here on my cell phone, let me open this up. Okay, here, you'll see that I've got Wi-Fi. Well, cellular not available because it's being used. If I was doing the bonding on my phone, I would have both of these, and it would indicate them with two different colors, the amount at which either one of them is being used. And I like the fact that it says where I'm connected in Atlanta on this device with Speedify. Although technically, you know, I've got Speedify going through Speedify, but not really, because it's only sharing the cellular, not the Wi-Fi, because that would be silly to share the Wi-Fi that it already has access to. And the down here is the pair and share thing that I was talking about, like multiple devices can just share it like a little data cloud that everybody can pull from everywhere. Kind of interesting, although I don't see most cases where, you know, a family with 3 kids, well, you're just going to have a family plan with T-Mobile. Everybody's on T-Mobile. So if T-Mobile doesn't have a good connection, it doesn't really help to have, ooh, look, I'm sharing your not great connection too. But here you can see the 3 different connections I have. You can turn it on and off. And like I says, you can do change the bonding mode as well as the pair and share. Is that? Encryption is off, speed test, generate logs. So this is what I've got going on in this device. And as you can see, this device is separate. So I've got it running 2 different ways and 2 different devices. And again, that's another advantage in that you're allocated so many installs across so many different devices, but then each device can access multiple connections. So if I do another install on my, you know, streaming PC for vMix, then on that device, it actually has 2 Ethernet ports. I can plug in 2 LANs. I can then connect to Wi-Fi. I can then jack in my phone via cellular. So now I got 4 connections. I can take a USB cell stick, 5 connections, and it'll say, okay, I'll use all 5. And again, but all that is coming into my computer, and it's not going to be accessible to the computer next to me. So, you know, maybe don't use Wi-Fi as an input, but rather than share the bonded connection out Wi-Fi to the device next to you. Are you asking too much of the computer then? I don't know. It's up to you. How powerful is your computer? I don't see any more questions coming in, so I'm going to wrap this up with, you know, some general thoughts in that streaming can help to make your live bonding. Let me try that again. Bonding can help to make your live streams more durable, more resilient, and get through. But it has to be looked at as part of the total package. Are you using a device like vMix where, oh, I want to send 4 streams. I want to stream to 4 different locations. Well, vMix is going to send 4 different streams. If I'm sending 4 different 4 megabit streams, 4 for 16 megabits minimum, and I would want double of that, so I would want 40 megabits upload speed to ensure that I have that bandwidth as part of the total package. If I was using a YOLO box and I was sending to 3 destinations, that same 4 megabit stream is going to be 4 megabits. So you have a much lower demand over here than you have over there. You know, you have to look at the whole picture when looking at bonding solutions and what they can provide. Does my video really need to be bulletproof? You know, you may look at a live view, they're rentable as well, and make sure that that has the best chance of getting through, and then everything else can fight for itself. Or do you want to ensure that all the things have a more reliable access? Because it's like, oh, well, we're doing cloud production. So while I have camera feeds that need to go, I also need to access a cloud switcher. So my computer, all of these things need to be extremely reliant. Then you might look at something where the router is set up for bonding and all of the data is bonded as it goes up. So that is something, again, the whole picture. Don't just look at, I want to do bonding. You need to define the whole ask, because a lot of times I find people that say, I want to do bonding, but then something doesn't work, and they say, well, I'll just use my phone to like log in, and they can't. And while that is kind of working, that is not working, and they realize that that is just as important as this, and they learn that for the next time. So that's what I'm trying to say is, think it through, look at the whole ask, look at the whole thing that you're trying to accomplish. And then when you write these tasks out, then you can look for the package that meets that need most evenly. All right. So thank you again for everybody being here. I'm just going to use my fingers on the tablet. My name is Anthony Barocas. I am the StreamTek host here every week. And if you liked today's content, let me also mention that if you're watching on Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn, let me switch. Why is it not switched? This one. All of the content is over here on the StreamTek channel on YouTube. So just look at Stream Technology, T-E-K-nology. You can find all the videos, all the site visits, gear reviews, technology tutorials, interviews with other producers, lots of content here to go and explore. And if you find something you like, do me a solid and share it on your social media, because that introduces this content to someone else who may not have any idea it exists. That would be great. Thank you very much. Also, feel free to check out my work at streamingmedia.com. It's a magazine I've written for over 15 years. You can sign up for regular email newsletters for free at streamingmedia.com. And if you need to reach me for consulting and to reach out like that, you can go to StreamTek.us. StreamTek.us will get you to the StreamTek channel where there's a nice contact us page. I also do the B4 on Micro Four Thirds group. So we put honking big broadcast lenses on tiny little Micro Four Thirds cameras. Why? Because we want good glass. That's why. And if you're interested in some other streaming technology, I created a group for this Teradek AirMix application, which has been orphaned. It is like 5 years old, hasn't been updated or developed. But if you have old hardware, if you have an iPad from 5 years ago and iPhones from 5 years ago, that's actually the hardware it was made for. So you can use those Android and iOS cameras. iPad is your switcher, and it does multi-camera switching. It does recording. It does, it's got a built-in audio mixer. It does lens corrections, chroma key, multi-layered scenes. It's just crazy how good it was. But it's not Teradek's, Teradek is really great at hardware. They realized that this is not their forte. So they took all of the paid options off, integrated it all into the app, and just let it free. So you can go get it. And then join the group, and there's 47 other people in the group, and you can share ideas and questions and try to help each other out, because again, it's unsupported. They didn't just kill it, they released it, but they're not supporting it. So it's in this weird area that it exists, but they're not supporting it. So that's just there. So that is me in a nutshell. Again, I thank you all for being here, and look forward to seeing you all next week. Again, you can find it all Stream Technology on YouTube and StreamTek.us. Once again, my name is Anthony Barocas. I'm your host for these wonderful shows, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Now where do I go? I'm not used to signing off on this computer. Let's do this one. And then, yeah, definitely out of practice.